Hello? Hey, what's going on, boss? Yeah, just enjoying my off day. About to watch Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah, no, it's been a great few years. I gotta say, I really love working here. I'm fired. Fuck you, okay? TBH fires you. You don't fire TBH. And yes, I'll be by really soon to clear off my desk. Fuck! I know this is really weird and bizarre considering you just fired me. I would like to recommend my replacement. Oh, and she can start immediately.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh my God.
Shit, it's just, yep, I did it. What's going on, everyone? I'm the Bad Habits, aka TBH, and today I'm here to review Mrs. Doubtfire. It's been 30 years since this movie released, and man, I'm just such a huge fan of this film. This is from a time when the accepted vernacular wasn't quite there yet. Let's just say that. The character, Mrs. Doubtfire, played by Robin Williams, fully believable. The makeup, the performance, all that is top notch. This is a really great portrayal by an awesome actor who is no longer with us, R.I.P. Robin Williams. Let's start with a basic synopsis of the plot. Daniel, played by Robin Williams, is a voice actor. You know, he does a lot of voiceovers for cartoons, stuff like that. They very clearly set him up as someone who can be a chameleon, camouflage as someone else. It's what Master of Disguise wanted to be. I'm sorry I made you watch that movie as a kid, Mom. Oof, I remember we had the VHS and I used to watch the shit out of that. It's terrible. I'm definitely gonna have to bring that to the channel one day, but yeah, thank you, Mom. He is married to Sally Fields' character, who's named Miranda, and they have 3 kids.
I have 2 girls and a boy.
Oh, a boy. I don't work with the males, because I used to be one.
Daniel has a hard time growing up. He's the fun, carefree, party-throwing type of parent, and, Sally Fields is Miranda. She's the strict, one who has to clean up the mess, essentially. So their dynamic is already strained very clearly early on. They're very drastically different parents.
Brenda, what's up?
What the hell is going on around here?
So one day after a ridiculous party, and I do mean goddamn ridiculous, Daniel throws a birthday party for his son, and he just brings a bunch of livestock. They're just fucking free roaming around, the streets. I mean, the hills of San Francisco. It's fucking ridiculous. So, to be fair, I get that. If she had to deal with a bunch of years of that shit, I would have been gone a long time ago. However, she's also not perfect. So, Miranda ends up filing for divorce and takes Daniel to court for custody of the children. Luckily for Daniel, he gets, in my opinion, one of the most fairest movie judges I've ever seen. Like, I actually really like this judge. Super cool, super fair, but he ends up getting 1 day a week, Saturdays with the kids. Daniel sees that as unacceptable, which, I totally understand. I couldn't imagine if that was me. I don't have to worry about it now because I have a boyfriend, so we're good. But to my knowledge, there's no little TVHs running around. So as a way to get around that, he adopts a persona, Mrs. Doubtfire. Hence the get up here, obviously. If you've seen the movie, I was trying to think of something interesting to call myself, but to combine it, like doubt habits, it was terrible. So yeah, I'll just be TBH for the whole review. There's no fun name to it, like when I dressed up as Freddy Krueger, call myself Freddy Habits, shit like that. not for this one. It just doesn't work. Now, you may be asking yourself, how does Daniel become Mrs. Doubtfire? Luckily for him, his brother, who is kind of like a more handsome Robin Williams, by the way. Thought that was fun. His brother's gay. They make that very clear. Now, to be fair, this portrayal of a gay character is pretty good for this time period. I gotta be honest. Yeah, it still may be offensive to some today, but gotta say, compared to some other movies, it's pretty tame. And he ends up making the Mrs. Doubtfire mask. You know, that's pretty fucking cool. Rewatching this movie, I was just gushing out. There's so many fun things. To get into a stupid, petty little con of mine, after the initial party that really kind of jump starts the events of the movie, the son has a very fucking stupid line where he says, and I quote, thank you, Michael Cole, I never should have had a birthday, Dad. Whoever wrote that, you stupid motherfucker. Why'd y'all do that to this boy? I never should have had a birthday, Dad. Someone trimmed the word out there. Like maybe I never should have had a birthday party. Never should have had a petting zoo at my birthday. Something. That's always pissed me off. And rewatching it, it's like, ugh. One thing I really loved about this movie is they really just let Robin Williams go. They really just point the camera at him and just fucking let the chef cook. He just went for it.
I do a great impression of a hot dog.
Mr. Hillard, do you consider yourself humorous?
Now, to join the main cast, we have Stu, played by Pierce Brosnan, aka James Bond of that era. You've seen GoldenEye, and you know, there's a few other films he did, but most people have seen GoldenEye. That's a safe bet. But this motherfucker is charming, and he's actually a decent guy. In most movies, the competition, the love interest competition, usually they're a dick, but this guy actually, no, he's really likable. Yeah, it's almost a shame Miranda didn't stick with him. Spoiler alert for this fucking 30-year-old movie. So once Daniel moves out, he ends up getting this, in my opinion, dope-ass fucking apartment. But for some reason, Miranda and the kids, they just constantly put it down throughout the early parts of the movie. Like, nah, this shit was dope. I would kill for something like that right now. He has motherfucking bay windows on the streets of San Francisco. TVH Studios would happily set up shop there. Early on, Miranda sort of just barges in, no knocking or none of that. She just fucking slams open the door. As the characters grow throughout the movie, you know, she learns to knock and respect Daniel, and obviously he grows a lot of respect for her because he's in her life a lot more, and she's able to really be herself when he is Mrs. Doubtfire. Small touches like that. I thought that was really cool. Another con about this movie is how easily Daniel is able to trick Miranda into, first of all, getting the number. It's so easy when it comes to the application. There's a phone number that Daniel changes just 2 numbers. Another con I wanted to point out is when Mrs. Doubtfire is basically, you know, passes her phone interview, Miranda gives out all of her info and doesn't even get Mrs. Doubtfire's name until after that. It's like, you are talking to a complete stranger on the phone. Maybe you should have their name before you just give out your address. That's just me. Whatever. After Daniel passes that interview via phone, he ends up changing into different costumes. Now, this is very redundant because Mrs. Doubtfire is the one who got the job. Now, sure, we don't know what she looks like physically, but he was doing a bunch of accents. Like I said, it's redundant, but that was a hilarious scene. I really loved it. Once again, just showing off the talent that it was Robin Williams. A small little character that pops in and out was the bus driver. the Mediterranean look. This man did not care. He was just infatuated with Mrs. Doubtfire. Hey man, kudos. There's two really good sequences where Daniel and Mrs. Doubtfire has to switch back and forth. There's one at the apartment, and then of course the third act, the finale, is at a restaurant where everything goes to shit. The one at the apartment with the social worker, oh man, that is a goddamn gem of a scene. All the puns Daniel was throwing while undoubtfiring was sending me. I gotta be honest. And of course the iconic, cake frosting face mask. Check it out. Check it out. That one's dope. And this motherfucker should join the IMF with fucking, Ethan Hunt here. But I remember as a kid, I used to love the kitchen scene where he's, trying to cook a meal and just fucking destroys the kitchen. And to cover his tracks, he ends up getting takeout at a very nice restaurant. Even as a kid, I remember thinking, like, that's not a good idea because you'd have to do that all the time. Luckily for him, he grows into becoming a really good cook. Which is interesting because I just started a new job recently, which is sort of why my videos have gotten a little shorter, or maybe a little less sporadic, or maybe a little less frequent to an extent. I'm still adjusting, but yeah, I'm a prep cook for a restaurant, and it's been a while since I've been in the restaurant biz, and it's kind of cool to awaken these skills I kind of forgot about. So when I saw him growing throughout the movie as a cook, it kind of gave me hope. So that's a nice little personal touch. It's very specific to the moment, to be fair. I've only been at this job for about 3 weeks at this point. It's all really new, but yeah, nice touch. If Daniel really if he had his shit together originally, he wouldn't need to do any of this. So let that be a lesson to grow up while you still can. Me, myself, I'm getting ready to be 30 next year. I'm 29 and a half right now. I still got a lot of growing up to do. Hey, newbie. Aw, it's okay, buddy. Am I supposed to do the rest of the review like this, buddy? Let me do it really quickly. The pool scene is hilarious. I love big ass Mrs. Doubtfire hiding by, oh my God. Oh, newbie, that's so extra. Okay, I love big ass Mrs. Doubtfire hiding by a pile of citrus. I thought that was really funny. And Stu just fell for it, I guess.
Oh, sir! I saw it! Some angry member of the kitchen staff. Did you not tip them? The terrorists, they ran that way. It was a run by fruiting.
Hey, buddy. I know. I'm trying. Hold on. The restaurant scene, awesome. Starts with a bang, and that really is the undoing of Daniel's ruse as Mrs. Doubtfire. I'm gonna read what I write down. To avoid his boss, who's at the same restaurant as Miranda, Stu, and the kids who's celebrating Miranda's birthday, Daniel has to switch between, playing himself for his boss and then playing as Mrs. Doubtfire for the family. It's so fun. We ended up laughing out loud when Daniel's boss, who sits in the non-smoking section, yeah, young kids don't remember that, but that was once a thing. To avoid sitting too close to him, he sits Miranda and the kids with Stu in the smoking section. Daniel gets caught because he ends up, drinking too much, mixing drinks specifically. This motherfucker trying to play, God with a small G over here, mixing Chardonnay with Scotch. One of the biggest cons I had about that entire sequence, though, was the fact that, Daniel leaves his bags, with his costume changes and all that. He leaves all that in the bathroom by the toilets and no one does anything about it, that's really hard to believe, especially in a nice restaurant like that where people are uppity. and nosy. At some point, Daniel just walks into the kitchen and there's a goddamn chef's attire with a chef's coat just waiting for him. And no one questions this, old lady walking around in their kitchen as if she had just, as if she was the fucking new hire. I know it's convenient for the plot, but damn.
Can't be that easy. It's that easy.
And get this, one thing about Stu, I gave him compliments earlier that he's a good guy. He is, but I do not take that back. But he mentioned that he is allergic to pepper, which is fine, that happens, it's unfortunate. But maybe don't be deep-throating shrimps, because this man ends up choking, and when he spits it out, this thing is whole. Like, did you bite it at all? It's kind of your fault, man. Now, of course, this is a movie, and they don't want to end in a bummer. Hey, newbie. So Daniel, luckily for him, Miranda ends up, giving in and throwing away the court case. He gets to become a part of their lives as Daniel on a regular basis. It would have been hilarious if he showed up as Mrs. Doubtfire, but just use his regular voice, just like, as like a little final fuck you. He ends up just taking the kids without Miranda, which is really nice because she clearly trusts him again. And he ends up getting his own show where he gets to still be Mrs. Doubtfire. The movie ends on a racist joke against Pakistani people in England. No clip included. It may not be for everyone, and especially not for today's audience, but overall I'm giving it a pass on its faults and just rating it on, pure joy and enjoyment. For that, I gotta give it a rating of add it to the collection. That's gonna be it here for today's video. I'm the Bad Habits, aka TBH. Oh, this is Anubis, the Aussie. And we're signing out, y'all. Deuces.